Hello everyone, my name is Molly and today we are here to talk about Shadowhunters Season 2, Episode 18. I was pretty happy with this episode. I didn't love it as much as I loved Episode 17, but I did like it as an episode. This past stretch has been pretty good. 16, 17, and 18 were all pretty good episodes, so I'm hoping they stick with that through the finale. That's really all I can say without spoiling anything, so I thought it was a very good episode and I think you should all go watch it. So if you haven't seen the episode, I'm going to ask you to leave now because I don't want to spoil anything, so go watch the episode, come back, and we can talk about it. For you non-spoiler people, goodbye! Okay, so episode 18. This episode started off and we were talking about Bat. Do you guys remember Bat from the books? In the Shadowhunter world, he is not a werewolf already. He has been turned into a werewolf, and Simon and Maya are dealing with the fact that he is turning into a werewolf. I thought they did pretty well. I mean, even though that's not how Bat's life went in the books, I still think it was a good story arc. The guy who plays Bat, we really didn't get to see too much of, so I don't really have an opinion on him yet, but I could feel the chemistry between Bat and Maya. It feels wrong, though, to have that chemistry between Bat and Maya without ever seeing Jordan. They finally mentioned him. It feels wrong to start the Maya and Bat storyline without Maya and Jordan already being a thing, because for those of you in the books, you know, like, the order that it goes in, so I don't know how they're gonna do that in the show, especially with starting the romantic chemistry off right off the bat. And she's also involved with Simon right now, so Maya's got a lot going on in the world of guys. In this episode, Izzy went up to Alec at one point, and she was like, I know stuff is wrong with Magnus, and I can see how upset you are, so you need to go talk to him, and it felt like such a nice brother-sister moment between Izzy and Alec. We get to see the Seelie Queen again this episode. Like last time, I think the girl did an incredible job that played her. And I know Sarah Hyland, who is Dominic Sherwood's girlfriend, is playing the Seelie Queen in episode 19, so I'm really excited to see that because I love Sarah Hyland. It was a heartbreaking scene when Izzy found Max bleeding. Poor Max. It was heartbreaking because him and Izzy have such a special bond that you really feel the pain of that relationship. I didn't understand why Max couldn't be healed with an Aratsi, because in the show they said that, like, his issues are being caused because he was thrown against a wall with such great force. But, like, shouldn't an Aratsi be able to heal that? Can't have anything to do with Sebi's demon powers, because that's what Aratsis are for, to heal them after fighting with demons. So, like, I don't really understand why an Aratsi wouldn't have worked on Max. In this episode, we get a lot of Malik flashbacks. I really liked them. I really love Malik. It was really weird to see Season 1 Alec, because Season 1 Alec is like Alec is in most of the books, but I've gotten used to seeing him as this, like, open guy who really trusts Magnus and loves Magnus and is like, screw anyone who thinks differently or whatever. And so to see him being mean again was really weird. Jace finds out about Max and he has, like, this big brother moment, and he, like, has to search for the person who did this, and he's, like, looking for clues, and Clary comes in and sees how upset he is and, like, puts a hand on his shoulder, and that scene was very touching. Not even as, like, a ship scene, it was just, like, you know, that bond that they have, and just seeing Jace feel like such a big brother to Max was really heartwarming. They start talking about how they're going to catch Jonathan and make him pay for hurting Max, and Sebastian is standing there. He's just always involved, and he's just standing there, and he starts to get scared, and he's like, well, what are you doing? And, like, he starts freaking out. Sebastian would never do that. Never. He would never do that. I don't know what's going on with my voice right now, but, like, he would never do that. He would never be worried. He would always have a cover story, and he always keeps his cool. So it kind of pissed me off a little bit that they had him be worried, because he wouldn't be worried. Like, we know Sebastian internally is worried that he's gonna get caught, but you don't need to show us. So Izzy is sitting by Max's bedside. She hasn't been there for that long because Max has only been hurt for like 2 hours. So she's been sitting at his bedside since they brought him in, and Sebastian comes in and is like, you should leave. You should go and take care of yourself and, like, all this stuff. And so Izzy leaves. Like, I understand if she's been there for days or whatever, maybe she's a little tired, maybe she needs a shower, like, whatever. But after sitting there for only 2 hours, trusts Sebastian and just leaves him with Max. Like, why? Another Malik flashback we get is when they are having some sexy times, and it was so cute. And there was that scene where, like, Magnus thinks he's losing control, and his eyes flash, and Alec takes his face in his hands. It's like, you're beautiful, they're beautiful. And I was like, oh. We have Luke this episode, who is acting like the alpha werewolf pack leader that he is, which was so exciting because I love seeing badass scenes. And so Luke was really badass this episode. He went on and took on that guy who turned bat, and he did a showdown for the alpha, but instead of killing this guy, he was like, you know what, I'm gonna show you mercy. And to me, that seemed even stronger. We hear about Jordan, and we learn the backstory, and honestly, like, after reading the book so long ago, I forgot how terrible Jordan was to Maya. It was heartbreaking to hear it, and it made me feel really weird because I love Jordan. I can't wait to see him in the show, and I love him in the books. And so, like, to hear that backstory about how evil he was to Maya, it really hurt me. The Lightwoods all come to Max's bedside because he's hurt, and I thought that was just an amazing scene, being able to see them all together because, you know, the family's fighting right now. The parents are, like, in the middle of the affair and the divorce. It was amazing to see that family come together and to support each other, which the Lightwoods don't normally do. And then Magnus is also there, and even though Magnus is really, really hurt, he can see that Alec is hurting so bad, and so he takes his hand and he comforts him, and my heart. Magnus, like, that felt like Magnus to me, you know? He's put aside his issues, and he didn't let this, like, it's not a little thing, but, like, he didn't let this thing that's hanging over them cloud his judgment for what is right. And the fact that Magnus came to help, too. Sebastian goes downstairs to find the mortal mirror, and he has such a badass fight scene. I mean, like, it's bad because he killed a bunch of the Shadowhunters and everything like that, but, like, his fight scene is so badass, and it was so awesome. It was so cool. He had this one move where he had the 2 Seraph blades, and he, like, stabs 2 people that are behind him. It was so awesome. So Clary has this idea, which was a pretty smart idea, to take Izzy's whip and take the electrum out of it, which demons can't handle, and make, like, a test for people, and they have to hold the electrum, and then that means they're not Jonathan, which was interesting. I think that was a good idea. But that begs the question, did she take all the electrum from the rope? Because if so, then Izzy's whip is useless. It's just a piece of rope. So, like, what is going on there? Is there any consequences for taking that electrum? Because it was, like, a pretty big rock of electrum, so I would think that, like, she had to take almost the entire whip's worth of electrum, which is not okay because that's Izzy's weapon. She needs that. So are there going to be repercussions for that? And then Sebastian's holding the thing. He gives issue about the electrum at first, and so Clary kind of is like, And then he actually holds it, and she's like, oh, he didn't do anything. Like, he wasn't reacting to it. And then she, like, runs after him and grabs his hand, and it's burned. And she's like, ugh. And then he closes the door, and they have that whole scene. There's another question that I had, which I wrote further down on my list. That's why I didn't talk about it yet. When Sebastian went down to get the mortal mirror, he had to open up a Shadowhunter's vault, and he had to use, like, his stele or a rune or whatever. How can he do that? Because he's a demon. He's not a Shadowhunter, doesn't have any Shadowhunter powers, and it's an institute. It's protected against demons. So, like, how is he able to open that vault? I couldn't figure that out. Maya and Simon lock Bat in the boathouse overnight, and then Simon comes back, and his whole boathouse is, like, ruined. Everything's thrown all over the place, and, like, I felt so bad for Simon. I was like, this is his home, and you just ruined it. But the chemistry between Maya and Bat and Maya and Simon was really interesting. I think you can definitely feel the chemistry between all of them, and so how's that going to play out? By the end of this episode, Max is alive, alive, which was really confusing because Max died in City of Glass. Sebastian killed him. So, like, how is he still alive, and how is that going to affect the rest of the story? Because Max's death gave Izzy the fuel to go after Sebastian, and Jace the fuel to go after Sebastian. So how's that gonna play out now? This episode, we discover that the mirror is not actually that little portable mirror that they had, which I was so happy about because that opens up the scene for having Lake Lynn be the mortal mirror, and then the whole showdown with Clary and Valentine, which I'm really excited for. I was really mad about the mortal mirror being an actual mirror because it made no sense to me, so I'm happy that, you know, they kind of fixed that. Magnus and Alec are broken up now, which is very sad, but also a little early because they don't break up till City of Lost Souls, so, like, it's a little early for that Malik breakup, so I don't think it's gonna last long. But I didn't really understand why they broke up, because Magnus kind of forgave him for it, but then he was like, I can't have both worlds, and like, I can't whatever, and I was like, but you've been making it work for the past 2 seasons, like, what happened? And it made no sense to me, and he's like, you asked what I was afraid of once, it's this, and I was like, this being, like, intimacy? This being, like, what? We have the promo for next week, which is, you know, obviously looking badass because I think there's gonna be a lot of fight scenes. Sarah Hyland is in it, which I mentioned earlier, and I'm very excited to see her. And there's Clace, which is interesting. I have a feeling that I'm gonna have a rant about Clace next episode talk just because the way they are handling Clace in the show has been kind of pissing me off. I'm not gonna go into too much detail right now, but I probably will next episode talk, so if you're interested, that'll definitely be in next week's talk. Those were my thoughts on the episode. Let me know what you guys thought of the episode, and if you agree with any of my thoughts, what you think is in store for us next week. If you guys are interested in more Shadowhunter related content, make sure to subscribe because I try to upload episode talks. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I try to upload a video every week. If you like my videos, then subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!